One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow, he takes his step, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Originals report he pays his way. More legend in the making, day by day.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. What a beautiful morning it is over here in northern Alabama. Great to see everyone in the chat, by the way. Absolutely. We got a lot to discuss, as you guys already know. Epic Fury briefing, as well as Senate clash on Iran war and global headlines is the way that we have this titled today. Now, the Epic Fury briefing, I'm not really sure exactly what time that's going to come out today. It may not even happen at all today while we're on the live stream, but it may happen later on today, and then we'll report on it tomorrow. So that's usually how these kind of things go. So just at least you guys know what's going on with that. So let's go ahead and give you guys a chronological breakdown of what we're looking at this morning. We're looking at the White House briefing amid Iran ceasefire, as well as Senate vote to limit Trump's war powers fail. Let me see if we get anything from this. The Senate rejected a resolution on Wednesday to limit President Trump's war powers. So that was from the Senate over there, the Democrat Senates, or the Senate Democrats, I should say. And then we have U.S. military maintains Iranian blockade with peace talks set to begin. This happened 16 hours ago, by the way. It says, we are learning more after President Donald Trump suggested the end of Iran war might be in sight. Quote, I think it's close to over. Yeah, I view it as very close to being over. This comes as the United States Central Command released audio of the broadcast warning being sent from U.S. Navy ships to shipping vessels heading to or coming from Iranian ports. So obviously you guys know that we've got the blockade, not necessarily on the actual blockade itself, meaning basically the Strait of Hormuz. People are getting it confused, like as if we're coming in and blocking off the strait as well. No, we're not doing that. We're blocking off all of Iranian ports, essentially. Anything going in or out of Iran is being halted. Okay, so we have powerful storms slam parts of the Midwest and damages structures. I mean, it's pretty big. It looks like there was a lot of, throughout the Midwest, but of course, Southeast Michigan actually got it kind of pretty hard here, and we got video for you guys on that just being last night, basically. And then this morning, as of only 4 hours ago, we have Trump says Israel-Lebanon talks will happen today. That's great news, by the way. Hopefully we can get some sort of resolution or something on that regard. That'd be great. And then we have an update as of 3 hours ago. It says at least 16 killed in Russian strikes against Ukraine. So this is to regards to Russia and Ukraine, obviously. There's not been much mainstream reporting of Russia, Ukraine. It's been primarily the focus on Iran. And truthfully, Russia loves that because they're like, hey, we don't have to, there's the global pressure and political pressure is now kind of off of me, thinking from Putin's standpoint. And oil prices are going up, which also is how he funds his war. So as least amount of coverage as possible is what basically what Putin wants. Anyways, this is an update over there, though. It says Russia on Wednesday night launched a wave of drone and missile attacks, killing at least 16 people and injured several others. Terrible. And then this morning, we also have, just an hour or two ago, we have Secretary Hegseth as well as General Kane provide update on Operation Epic Fury. So at least we have that press briefing. I forgot that I actually had it pulled up. So that's great. I'm glad that that is going to be actually covered on today's show. And then we have Justin Fairfax kills himself, and then wife in Virginia as well. So that's just coming out an hour ago. It says Annandale, I think that's how you say it, Virginia. Police say former Virginia lieutenant governor shot and killed his wife inside their home. Police chief Kevin Davis provided an update on the latest. Authorities say former Virginia Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax shot and killed his wife. And then it says Fairfax County Police Chief Kevin Davis said officers were called after midnight, where responders found both adults dead. The couple's children called 911 after gunfire erupted. Wow, man, that's fucking terrible. Absolutely terrible. I hate hearing those stories right there. It's just incredible. All right, real quick, let's go ahead and do our call to actions, and then we'll get right into the craziness. Make sure you guys hit that like button and double tap the screen if you guys are on the vertical side. I very much appreciate your guys' laborious work on hitting that like button, as well as hitting that subscribe button. That's what we do Monday through Friday, as well as Saturday morning for members only, man. Now, speaking of members, please consider becoming a member, starting only at $3.99 a month. Making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. This is what allows us to be on these airwaves as well as have these lights on. So thank you guys for becoming members and staying members. Little side note here, follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, as well as the campaign trail, man. It's a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one, and we also have a Discord server for all you legends, because we consolidate all the world's headlines and all that into a single hour, basically, and then after the show, we like to continue the conversation, okay? So make sure you guys go into the video description down below of any live video that we're on, and it'll have that invite link for you guys. And last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, by the way, we have these platforms that are scrolling around the screen, and anytime you guys can donate to that, and I get 100% of the proceeds, and I will read it out loud just like a super chat. So I very much appreciate your guys' engagement with that. All right, good morning to all you legends, man. I'm going to try my damnness to say hi to the majority at bare minimum with all you guys. We got Easy Frank as well as Gary in the building. Shout out to you guys. We got Jimmy Mack as well as Perez. Shout out to you guys, man. Good morning, good morning. We got Lick It Up with Poncho as well as Naomi. Shout out to you, by the way. We got Motobomb Virginia and also the coffee crew that rated us this morning. So thank you guys for rating us this morning. I very much appreciate that. The amount of love and support that I get from you guys is just absolutely amazing, man. We got Naomi, like I said, good morning to you. We got Rabbit of Chaos as well. We got Charles Darwin from Down Under. We always appreciate my man right there. We got Steve Easy as well. Shout out to you. Good morning. We got Mr. Wildcard. Shout out. Good morning. We got Biker Babe as well. And Steve Easy is kindly reminding you guys to double tap that screen and give a like for Mike, man. I very much appreciate that. We got No Grow in the building as well. Shout out to you. We got Brother Dean Savage saying evening all for over there from Israel. Shout out to you and good evening. It is a nice morning for us here. We got Lappy as well. Good morning to you, kind sir, as well as Cameron. Shout out to you both over there. All right, we're scrolling our way down. We got Carrie from Rob's Neighbor. Always appreciate you. Good morning. The Straight Where Whores Move. Yeah, no kidding. No. I like that. I like that for sure. We got Carney Vanguard as well rating us. Appreciate you this morning from the coffee crew. We got Pablo as well. Good morning. And we're almost there. We got Virginia Chaos. Good morning to you as well. Sick Bastard, part of the coffee crew as well. We got Mr. Dylan Patterson, yes sir, and Mr. Al Patterson. Always appreciate you guys hanging out with us this morning. All right, so we're pretty much going to get right into it. We got as well as Tiffany. Good morning. All right, we're going to go ahead and get into the very first thing here. White House press briefing amid Iran ceasefire. In all transparency, as you guys know, I let you guys know the timeline of these kind of things. This happened yesterday. It happened yesterday after we got off the live stream. Otherwise, we would have covered it yesterday. But nonetheless, the things that happened in this press conference, I watched live yesterday, and it's very important. So I'm going to go ahead and allow the monologue to basically happen on both Caroline Leavitt. And we don't really need to hear from this lady over here. She speaks briefly. She's, in my opinion, worthless. I didn't need to hear anything she had to say. But what we do care about is this man over here on the right. That's what we care about. Stage left. So anyways, let's go ahead and get on to it.
I will start with some scheduling announcements. Tomorrow afternoon, President Trump will travel to Las Vegas, Nevada to hold a roundtable and deliver remarks on the working families tax cuts. On Friday, President Trump will travel to Phoenix, Arizona to deliver remarks at a Turning Point USA event at Dream City Church. And I'm really honored to be standing here today on Tax Day with two esteemed members of the President's cabinet and his excellent economic team, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Small Business
What's up, Brother Straight? Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat, by the way. Good morning.
Administrator Kelly Loeffler. As we have seen this tax season, President Trump's working families tax cuts have put a historic amount of money back into the pockets of the American people this year. On the campaign trail in 2024, President Trump looked voters in the eye and promised them he would sign the largest tax cuts in the history of our country. And on Independence Day last year, President Trump and congressional Republicans delivered, passing the largest tax cut in history for working and middle-class Americans, including no...
But also the biggest funding package as well. The big beautiful bill wasn't just some benefits for American citizens. It was also a funding bill. It was basically a pork-filled bill.
Tax on tips, overtime, and so...
But these things that she's in particularly pointing out, being no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, all those things, Social Security, all that stuff, those are great things, and they are a huge deal, but it's really sad that it had to get so dampered down with basically what Congress and what the Senate basically wanted to throw into this to be able to quote unquote pass it. So
Social Security.
Yeah.
They also passed unprecedented tax
What's
relief
up,
for small
Chef Couch? Good
businesses,
morning.
farmers, workers, and
And
families.
we got Mr. Jack Telcott in the building as well. Shout out to you. Good morning and blessings.
With Tax Day officially here, the numbers prove these tax cuts have been nothing short of extraordinary. More than 53 million filers claimed at least one
Damn, Virginia Chaos. Damn, that sucks.
Bruh.
of President Trump's signature new tax cuts. The average
Must have made
refund
good money.
this filing season is more than $3,400. The Trump administration has issued more refunds and larger refunds than in any year of the history of our country. And I will allow Secretary Bessent to break down the numbers in greater detail. President Trump and Republicans in Congress have always believed that the American people know how to spend their money better than the government does. But what the American people must not forget is that every single Democrat in Congress voted against these tax refunds. The media has largely omitted this fact and other critical details in their stories covering the benefits of the Trump tax cuts. If the Democrats in Congress had gotten their way and blocked President Trump's historic legislation, Americans would have faced the largest tax hike in history, nearly $4 trillion. The average taxpayer would have seen a 22% increase in their tax rates. Democrats in Congress have proven over and over again that they are the affordability frauds who believe the government should keep more of the American people's hard-earned money. This president and Republicans in Congress
What up, 5150? Good morning.
fundamentally believe that Americans deserve to keep more of their hard-earned paychecks. It's a clear contrast for American families to keep in mind. So with that, I will turn it over to our great Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, and then
All
we'll
right.
turn it over to Kelly. Thank you.
We don't need to hear from Kelly. Fuck what Kelly has to say. We'll hear from him.
Good. Thank you, Caroline. I'm here to tell you that it has been a fantastic tax season.
What's up, Stephanie, as well? And happy Thirsty Thursday. Great to see you.
It has gone smoothly. It has gone efficiently from the point of view of the IRS, but most importantly, it's been a great tax season for the American people. Thanks to promises made, promises kept, through the working families tax cuts, the president has delivered the record refunds to the American people. More than 45% of the filers of the returns that we have seen have had at least one of the four president's signature policies: no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, the deductions for our great seniors, and the deductibility of interest on auto loans for American-made cars. And I will tell you that one of those that Americans have taken is no tax on overtime. And it's the American way. If you want to work longer hours, you get to keep more of your money.
Now, mind you, the reason why these guys were talking so much about tax yesterday is obviously it was tax day. Okay, so it was very convenient for them to go ahead and have this, briefing on this particular thing. So they're trying to basically show the American people, listen, I know that you guys are thinking about Trump and Iran and basically the mess of that, but don't forget that he did this, kind of thing. and try to help themselves on the midterms. But unfortunately, I think we all know what's going to end up happening on the midterms.
And with that, we are seeing. I want to encourage everyone out there watching today
Ms.
to
Lotus,
change their
good morning.
withholding if they haven't already done so. Because if you change your withholding, then you will get an automatic real wage increase, be it on a weekly or a monthly basis, and you will be able to keep more of your money this calendar year. So,
What's up, your boy? Good morning to you, by the way.
with that, we have also seen with the Trump accounts, we have had 5 million families file for Trump accounts for their children. 1.2 million of those are eligible for the $1,000 seed bonus. So we look forward to that picking up more and more.
That's basically a savings plan for your child, essentially. They throw in, I forget how much it is, like $1,000 or something like that. And then over the course, when they're born, that's when they're given the $1,000 if you do a Trump account with your kid or whatever. But yeah, so it's just, it could go up to something like 16,000 or something like that if you leave it until you're 25 years old or 30 years old. The child has the ability to collect that money at the age of 18, but if you leave it sitting longer, then compounding interest does its work, you know what I mean? So anyways, that's just kind of like a savings account.
For those of you who haven't done it, it's easy to remember, Form 4547. You can do it while you're filing your taxes. You can do it at any point during the year. We think this is going to be transformational in terms of financial literacy. This is Financial Literacy Month, and at Treasury and all over the administration, we are working with the American people, with American families, not only to give them more of their money, but to show them how to invest it in a safe, smart, and sound way. So with that, I will turn it over to Kelly.
I really don't need anybody from the government telling me how I need to invest or how I should invest. I'm just going to be honest. Now, of course, if you're going to offer programs such as like the Trump account for your kid or something like that, then sure, I can understand that kind of thing. But like actual investing, yeah, I don't need to hear that from you guys.
Great.
Okay, we don't need to hear this chick. She's basically worthless on this conversation. I watched it, so I'm telling you, you're just gonna have to take my word.
The new tax cuts is over $800. Over
What's up,
6
Blake's
million
Fight?
filers have claimed no tax on tips with an average deduction of $7,100. Over 25 million filers have claimed no tax on overtime with an average deduction of $3,100. Over 30 million seniors have claimed the enhanced deduction for seniors with an average deduction of $7,500. And over 1 million filers.
Honestly, I'm not sure where the $1,000 per child that's, if you sign up, I'm not really sure where that money actually is pulled from, Chef Couch. It's a good question, though.
Have claimed
I think originally when he said that they were going to do this, it happened to be from like the surplus of tariffs or something like that. But I really don't know who is investing in that, whether that be the government or some private sector where you've got somebody, because truth be told, a lot of people, a lot of companies, a lot of businesses, a lot of people overseas like to give Trump money. So a lot of things have actually been invested from the private sector.
tax on car loan interest on American cars for an average deduction of over $1,800. The average refund this filing season is over $3,400.
That's
over
right, Steve.
34 million families have claimed Republicans' enhanced child tax credit, which is permanently.
Yeah, exactly, Bishop. Great to see you. By the way, we got the diamond effect in here. We got Mr. Archbishop in the building with
doubled
us this
and
morning.
expanded by the working families tax cuts. Over 105 million filers have claimed the permanently doubled standard deduction, simplifying tax filing for millions across America. So as much as people do not...
Terrence, don't be counting on that stimulus, that stimmy, right? Don't be counting on that stimmy. I remember when it was originally, I think the original number that was being thrown out when we were doing good on tariffs and all that stuff, that there was going to be like something of the effect of like, I think it was something of the effect of like $5,000. And then once that kind of was announced, kind of thrown out there, then it got dropped down to 2,000. And now that we're in this war with Iran, you can basically kiss that shit goodbye.
like to pay their taxes, and we saw a survey today that 70% of Americans still believe that they are overtaxed. This is a great day for the American people.
Thank you, Scott and Kelly. We'll now open it up to questions. You're welcome to ask me questions.
Truth be told, we don't need to go through the questions. If we had the time, I would love to go ahead and sit here and just listen to 40 minutes of them asking questions and shit. And I watched it yesterday. There was some great questions in there, but it takes 40 minutes to get through it. So we don't have the time for that. We have to get through these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other stories, man. So we got their monologue off. That's what we needed. Now we're going to go into Senate vote to limit Trump's war powers fail. So the Senate Democrats try to put a hold basically on what Trump can do in quote-unquote war or whatever. This is what it says. The Senate rejected a resolution on Wednesday to limit President Trump's war powers.
In the meantime, while we were listening into that update, we also got one from the floor there on the Senate. I want to put up this live vantage point that we have outside of Capitol Hill. So today, the Senate did vote to limit the vote to limit President Trump's war powers ultimately failed. The Senate rejected that resolution to block Trump's from ordering further strikes on Iran. This comes even as Republicans raised increasing concerns about the war. That vote was the latest in a test of lawmakers.
That's right, Steve Easy. Never count on anybody but yourself. That's right. And nobody's owed anything anyways. You know what I mean? No one's owed anything. You got to go out there and get it yourself.
Support for the conflict since President Trump threatened last week to destroy Iran's whole civilization. Democrats have forced votes on 3 other war powers resolutions since the war's start. And so I want to put this up on your screen. This is from the Senate cloakroom saying there, not agreed to, 47 to 52, the motion to discharge from the Foreign Relations Committee. This was brought again to the Senate floor by Senator Duckworth. Also want to put this one on your screen there from the Senate press gallery, giving us a better breakdown of what we saw unfold there as far as how those votes went. The Democratic senator.
Yo, real quick, we got Fidel coming in with the comboed. I see you comboed a whole bunch. I mean, shit, 9 times with all those 100 with all the jewels, man. That's humongous. I very much appreciate you making it rain over there on the vertical side. I very much appreciate that, by the way. Let's get it.
John Fetterman did vote no.
This is the vote.
GOP Senator Rand Paul voted yes. Senator Justice
What's up, Papa
did not
Penguin? Be
vote
careful.
in this war powers resolution. And today we heard from Tammy Duckworth, once again, the senator who was responsible for forcing this vote, saying today, I am forcing a vote on my war powers resolution to end Trump's needless and expensive war of choice against Iran. The American people do not want higher cost, rampant lies, and chaos. The Senate must act. And we also heard from Senator Chuck Schumer just before that vote happened, saying, happening now. We're focusing up.
Yes, that is correct, by the way, your boy. You have to, the parents have to sign up to do that. Absolutely. It's not just given. And we got Fidel, by the way. Yes, thank you very much for the amount of gifted, the gifts on the vertical side. Thank you very much for that.
Forcing a vote on another war powers resolution, our 4th since this war began. If Republicans vote no again, we will continue to force votes on these resolutions every week until this war ends or Republicans finally find the courage to stand up to President Trump.
That's one thing you're very right about, Deb. If there's one thing you can say about the Democrats, they know how to vote together.
Also do have this as well. More reactions still going to be coming into our newsroom from Republican side of things. But we want to make sure we were able to get that to you. Again, that vote to limit President Trump's war power has ultimately failed.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on here. We got the U.S. military maintains Iranian blockade with peace talks set to begin. As you guys know, the blockade is not necessarily the strait, as you guys I've clarified on this show a few times already. But basically the United States is blocking off any Iranian ports. Anything going in or out of the country is basically subject to getting bombed. You know what I mean? They're going to strike the shit out of them. Anyways, real quick, what we got to do is we got to do the money part.
Just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
And this goes for all the haters, by the way.
Man, motherfuckers talk all the shit they want. But you see me, I'm sitting up here snacking on this big ass sandwich, not getting a fuck. Kiss my dick, motherfucker.
That's actual factuals.
And welcome back, everyone, here to Live Now from Fox. Next up, we want to get the latest updates on the war in Iran and where the negotiations are right now between the U.S. and Iran. For more on this, we go to Fox News' Rebecca Castor with a breakdown.
With less than a week until the ceasefire expires, U.S. and Iranian officials say there's no formal agreement to extend it yet.
Terrible.
But the two sides are still talking, and President Trump is optimistic.
I think it's close to over, yeah. I mean, I view it as very close to over.
And we reported that report of Trump. I believe we did that on Tuesday, and then we showed a little bit on Wednesday, and now it's Thursday.
The president believes the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports will push the regime to agree to his terms, with about 90% of their economy on the line. But now the Iranians say they'll go further, blocking all ship traffic in the Gulf of Oman and Red Sea if the U.S. blockade continues.
We've played one card. We've got a lot more cards in the deck.
One of those cards could be pressuring China. President Trump says...
Shit, by the way, it's already halfway through the show and I haven't even gotten to my counterclockwise tobacco. What am I doing, bro? What am I doing? We gotta set ourselves up right. You know what I mean? We gotta set ourselves up right. Let's go ahead and grab one of these bad boys. All right, now we're ready for the rest of the show.
He reached out to Xi Jinping about China reportedly sending weapons to Iran.
I wrote him a letter asking him not to do that, and he wrote me a letter saying that essentially he's not doing that.
Tuesday, China's foreign minister called the U.S. blockade a dangerous and irresponsible move. But President Trump says China is very happy that I am permanently opening the Strait of Hormuz. President Xi will give me a big fat hug when I get there.
Which we reported on this very post yesterday, and I even showed it on the Diamond Effect as well.
In a few weeks.
This war is all about not only defanging Iran, but repelling some Chinese influence from the Middle East. And China is getting the message.
Additional warships and thousands of sailors and Marines are still en route to the region, giving the president options if peace talks fall apart. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
All right, Rebecca, thanks so much for those updates. We appreciate it right here on Live Now from Fox. I want to continue the conversation, bring in our next guest to help continuing to break down the negotiation as well as where we're at right now with the war. Next up here, please welcome everyone, Graham Slattery with...
What the fuck does this guy know about any type of negotiations?
Bruh.
What kind of information is Bedhead over here going to give us that we don't already know? Let's give him a chance. Let's give him a chance. Let's hear what he's got to say. If he's bogus, we're just moving on.
Reuters, great to have you on, Graham. And yeah, this comes as a moment where, you know, we are waiting maybe on a Truth Social update.
Oh, Gary, for sure. I'm doing better on the stock market than I have in the last like 4 or 5 months. So absolutely.
The moment when President Trump is going to say, you know, the war is over. Are we getting closer, do you think, to that point?
We're getting closer to that point. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're...
How come all these fucking reporters and all that shit, they're on their like piece of shit laptops, right? No microphone, but we're speaking to an international audience and we can't even have decent audio to hear you. You're using your 12-year-old fucking MacBook or whatever the case is, and just no microphone? Incredible.
Within a matter of days, as has been advertised, you know, by some officials close to the negotiation. But certainly we understand that there's a number of talks ongoing via the Pakistanis, via the regional intermediaries. So certainly
that looks like Israel.
We're getting closer. There are still gaps, but we do see indications, of course, that officials will be heading back to Islamabad in the coming days for another and perhaps final round of negotiations for now.
And during that first meeting, on both sides, was there just a little bit of mistrust? Was Tehran not believing D.C. and vice versa? I mean, no, because to walk away from the meeting where there was really no impacts yet, only to say, you know what, we will have another meeting soon. What do you think came from that meeting, and what do you think U.S. officials learned from it so they know what to go into for the second meeting?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like, it's got to be like leaning against his coffee mug or something like that on the desk. It's coming from like a low point, you know? I don't know.
Well, look, you know, this was the first direct negotiation at that level with the Iranians in obviously a very, very, very long time. And the issue sets are massive. You, of course, have...
And I was actually very surprised that the whole negotiation happened in, well, A, it happened in Pakistan, and B, that they actually, both sides, the United States and Iran, stayed at the exact same luxury hotel. Usually they're willing to do, you know, negotiations on that kind of level, but usually they kind of stay in different locations. So I thought that was interesting. They're both in the exact same hotel.
The nuclear issue, proxies, missiles, etc. So in hindsight, it's safe to say that it was very unlikely that there was going to be any
totally
that resulted from
that image right there. Yeah.
Now, there still is a lot of mistrust on both sides, but given the complexity of the issue sets and of course that the mistrust that comes with having had two wars within a calendar year, it perhaps was never realistic in the first place to come away with that, with any sort of comprehensive agreement, quite frankly.
And how much?
All right, so this guy really isn't going to give us shit. I'm going to be honest. Sorry, this guy's lackluster. Let's go ahead and see if we get any major posts from any political or any governmental official from either side. Doesn't look like we are, so we're going to move on. Perfect. All right, we got, we're going to bring it to home real quick. I know we've been focusing a lot on international headlines and the war. Well, I should say operation, actually. But you guys know what I'm talking about. We've been talking about the Middle East a lot, and we do have some news here that's happened locally. It says just yesterday afternoon, basically, powerful storms slammed parts of the Midwest as well as damaged structures. It looks like from at least this report, yes, the parts of the Midwest this week are basically getting just hammered. But in particular, I think it looks like there's some pretty decent damage in southeast Michigan. So let's go ahead and bring that up, and we'll quickly discuss it. Before we do, I think that everybody in regards to Israel, Hezbollah, meaning Lebanon, obviously, United States, Iran, everybody, embrace your fuck-ups.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck-ups when you have tomorrow's fuck-ups to look forward to? You are a fuck-up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
Embrace thy process. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get into this.
As we are following the latest in terms of severe weather, and yesterday we were diving into what was going on in southeastern Wisconsin. A live picture right now at our computer XRAD monitor. Another round of storms, flood watches on the horizon for all of these is another system moving through the area. They are not the only community, though, dealing with this major weather system. Chris Foster has more from Fox on what we saw yesterday.
A series of severe storms threatens parts of the Midwest this week. Tornadoes, intense thunderstorms, high winds, and flooding stretching from Kansas to Michigan.
Right now, we're cleaning up our yard. We're kind of slowly cleaning up the property. A lot of fence was down.
Wow, very, very interesting. Dean Savage over there in Israel is giving us a little update here. Says news of ceasefire with Lebanon from this evening. Wow. It sounds like that we actually might see some sort of at least brief ceasefire during this whole thing. So for that side.
A lot of debris throughout the property.
Authorities in Kansas reported dozens of homes and businesses destroyed after an EF1 tornado. Winds over 100 miles per hour scattered debris, down power lines, and toppled trees. No severe injuries are reported.
Yeah, so we heard the sirens go off on our phones, and at first we thought nothing of it because we heard the sirens go off, and that's happened before. But then we heard this giant crash, and a tree had fallen on our neighbor's house, so close to our house.
Damn, that sucks. Could you imagine having a full-blown tree just crush your fucking entire middle of your house or some shit? Oh, that would just be miserable.
You wake up this morning, you see the damage. What do you think?
I mean, it's horrifying. I did not expect to see that when I walked out of my house this morning. But
in Michigan, intense rain and wind gusts also caused property damage.
Damn.
One resident describing the lightning flashes she experienced.
The lightning was crazy. It was almost constantly illuminating the little window in our basement.
Like rapid fire lightning?
Yeah, it was light in there.
The Weather Service issued flash flood advisories. Here you can see just how bad it got for these residents, with some waking up to their cars immersed in water. Severe storms are expected to...
Dude, Cameron, that would have been sick, though, to have somebody an actual real-time storm chaser that can join the live in the middle of them fucking going through a storm and shit. Yeah, that would be great. That would be great.
Impact the Northeast later this week. Chris Foster, Fox News.
All right, thank you so much for that. And there was a confirmed tornado.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I'm sure that Trump definitely did push Netanyahu to figure that out. Get this under control so that we can get our shit under control, and then we can move forward. I bet that you're right.
Down in Wisconsin yesterday, a live look there in this city, right on the banks of Lake Michigan. You can see some of the rain there falling in front of the camera, the bridge over kind of parts.
Yeah, it must be where they're just covering it.
The river in Milwaukee, so just south of downtown area. Let's take you right now out to our Fox 6 team. They're continuing to follow the latest, speaking to reporters on the ground, seeing some of the most damaged areas. Let's listen into their live coverage.
Madison, that's what we're concerned about later on this evening. Now, we have some rain showers pushing through the Milwaukee area right now. This is not a big deal,
just because this, we don't need to see exact, the radar, because this was yesterday afternoon. So any predictions, they're going to be, what they're showing here is already passed. So, but the point of what I wanted to show was the images of out there and how it looks. Let's go ahead and hear what this guy has got to say. It looks like he's a somewhat maybe of a storm chaser himself. Let's go ahead and see what this man's got to say.
Yeah, hi there, Ben. So probably not recommended for most people, but Adam Page remembered back to last August.
Oh, it looks like he works for Fox. I mean,
historic flooding and rainfall that caused that flooding. Seeing that one man decided to make it his own mission to go out and check on sewer drains in his neighborhood. As we drive around now, this is Teutonia. This is one of the roads where Adam Page said he spent a lot of time last night because water was pooling kind of up and down Teutonia Avenue. And what he did is he took a broomstick and just went around, poked holes in some of these drains. He had some gloves on, pulled some debris out. And
no, you're doing a great job. I know exactly what you're getting at when you say shit like that, by the way. So no, I'm with you. I'm with you. I appreciate it.
Within minutes, the heavy rain that had caused that kind of flash flooding went down. It was able to go into the sewer and flow properly. We talked to him about
that's good.
Hour.
Well, because a lot of, shit. The truth be told, though, the North is kind of prepared for, water, but believe it or not, there's a lot of cities in America that are not prepared for water. When heavy rainfall comes or whatever the case is, it's flash flooding in a lot of cities. So I'm glad to hear that. Sounds like that they're, at least in this particular area, the sewer and all that shit was running perfectly fine. The water was draining perfectly good. That's good. That's great news. All right, so let's go ahead and see if we get any other report and see if there's any other damages here. Looks like they're showing some flooding that is happening, or it looks like a very now rapid river. It's just it probably isn't normally this high and running this fast, of course.
Yeah, 24 hours ago, the U.S. Geological Survey water gauge here at 70th Street showed that the water level was at just under 4 feet. And in just
what's up, brother? So loud. Good morning.
12 hours time this morning at around 7 o'clock this morning, the water had risen by 5 feet. This is what it is right now. So definitely the water is making its way to the watershed. Sam talked with that gentleman who is clearing storm sewers to help get that water into the storm sewers and get it into the watersheds and waterways. But one of the things that is an issue when we see these heavy rainfalls is the inundation of the sanitary sewer system. Right now, the deep tunnel for the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District is more than 3/4 full, and the sewerage district is asking people to limit their water use until these rains move out of our area.
What's up, Ghost? Good morning, by the way. And by the way, 5150, I remember when the whole, actually, you guys had it back to back 2 years in a row or some shit over there in Texas. Yeah, you guys are definitely not built for the amount of rain or water that you guys do get sometimes.
We keep out of the sewer system.
And the storms come through.
Water that can't become an overflow or a basement backup or a problem for somebody else.
MMST said they received a number of phone calls from people saying that they had sewer backups in their homes because of the heavy rain.
I'm sure not only just sewer backups. I'm sure that that's probably true because of the amount of pressure that, for instance, that river that's running right there. I'm sure the amount of pressure from the amount of water that they ended up getting, they probably did have problems actually flushing their toilets or whatever. And also during times like this, it's always amazing to me that our old technology on the power grid actually somewhat survives. Yes, there are outages and stuff, of course, but overall, it still kind of survives. It's kind of mind blowing. That shit is infrastructure like bare bones. It was built in the 60s and 70s, and that hardware. But now, of course, that's what the bones, the skeleton of the grid is. We have added onto it since then and upgraded as we have gone. But yeah, it's kind of insane actually. Let's go ahead and see a little bit of looks like we got some other footage real quick, and then we'll get into our next story here.
All right, just listening in there to some of our Fox 16, their coverage of
oh wow, brother So Loud coming in humongous, by the way. This is a whale right here. Brother So Loud says, happy belated birthday, brother. Man, I appreciate it. Now that's I very much appreciate that, brother So Loud, and thank you. Very much appreciate that. It definitely goes a long way, my man. Yeah, this is a little bit crazy, man. Anytime that we deal with storms, it's very interesting watching not only the actual storm come through, but the way that the communities react to the amount of damage, whatever the case is. And also, I mean, there's a lot of hardships in that. I mean, people are losing their livelihoods from a fucking storm. That's got to be just miserable.
Those extensive severe weather threats. The National Weather Service in Milwaukee saying there's a small chance for strong severe storms this afternoon and in the evening hours across southwestern Wisconsin's small hail, brief damaging winds, heavy rain, flooding. The main concerns, there's a flood watch out for all of southern Wisconsin through 7 a.m. Thursday. And we're also diving into our Fox 32 team in Chicago. They were dealing with severe weather, hail that was potentially baseball size. Also,
thank you for that as well, Fidel.
In the Detroit metropolitan.
So it looks like they're getting a whole bunch of, we're talking hail and all of it. I fucking hate hail. Hail is the worst. All right, let's go ahead and get into, it says just 5 hours ago, by the way, a little bit about what Dean Savage was saying in the chat. Trump says Israel-Lebanon talks will happen today, and I'm sure that there's been those talks already kind of happening. I'm sure of it. But nonetheless, this came out today. Let's go ahead and hear what they've got to say briefly.
Coming up at 8 a.m. Eastern time, we're waiting for an update courtesy of the Pentagon, an update on Operation Epic Fury. It's starting.
Which I have this press conference, by the way. I have it queued up. It's not this next story that we're going to do after this. It's going to be the story after that.
8 a.m. again Eastern time in about 2 hours from now. It will feature some comments from U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, also General Dan Kane. It's going to be similar to some of the updates that we have seen in the past with some opening remarks. And then also we will have some questions that are going to be posed by reporters. So again, just bringing up here the photos, images of Pete Hegseth and also Dan Kane, both of them set to speak at this Pentagon update coming up in just a couple of hours. And this is a perfect moment to segue to some more of those updates that we have coming out of the Middle East as the situation continues to escalate, but we are following this very closely. The Associated Press saying this: Pakistan's army chief on Wednesday was in Tehran with Iran's foreign minister in the latest diplomatic move to ease tensions in the Middle East and arrange a second round of negotiations between the U.S. and Iran after almost 7 weeks of war. Also, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent warned yesterday that the U.S. is prepared.
Oh, man, that's awesome news. If Steve Easy's saying that you guys are doing a good job on the likes, man, I very much appreciate that. Again, if you guys are just coming in, hanging out with us, listen. I know you guys don't necessarily have to like everything that's going on around the world, but you guys can like it for me and what we do here on Insane Will. So thank you for that.
Preparing to ramp up economic pain on Iran by levying secondary sanctions on financial institutions that do business with the Middle Eastern nation. Bessent called the measure the financial equivalent of a bombing campaign. And also, the Israeli military killed 4 Lebanese rescue workers and wounded 6 others in 3 consecutive targeted strikes Wednesday. Paramedic groups.
So that just was yesterday.
Said that to the Associated Press. Now, it's an illustration of the human cost of the Israeli military campaign against Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, a day after the two countries.
It says it has been a long time since the two leaders have spoken, like 34 years, it says. It will happen tomorrow. Wow.
Held historic talks in.
That came from Donald Trump, by the way. He says, trying to get a little breathing room between Israel and Lebanon has been a long time since the two leaders have spoken, like 34 years. It will happen tomorrow. Nice. President Donald J. Trump.
Washington.
Interesting.
Speaking of, this is a live image that we do have out of Beirut and Lebanon on this Thursday morning.
What's up, Big Dan? Shout out to you. Good morning to you. Hopefully you're enjoying your thirsty Thursday so far.
A lot to get to, as you heard from that recap. So joining us next onto the program to discuss all of this is Seth Frantzman. He is an adjunct fellow with the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. Seth, good morning.
Good morning.
I want to...
You guys are funny. Tiffany and Prez were in here in basically the very beginning.
Start with some of the latest comments made from President Trump. So he did post via his Truth Social account, and I'm going to bring it up here in just a moment. So he said this just a few hours ago, quote, trying to get a little breathing room between Israel and Lebanon. It has been a long time since the two leaders have spoken, like 34 years. It will happen tomorrow. This, of course, references back to the fact that earlier this week, we saw Israeli and Lebanese officials meet in Washington, D.C. for some talks. Seth, as we look ahead to the second round of talks here, which really is the first time we've seen this in decades, what were some of the successes that we saw from that first round of talks this week?
We don't need to hear from Alfalfa over here. Let me go ahead and see if there's any other breaking things here. Here's one of them. The IDF comes out with something. Dismantled 70 Hezbollah terror infrastructure sites in just 1 minute. Wow. That sounds like the IDF. IDF soldiers located dozens of weapons among the weapons located were RPGs, Karkanov or whatever, however you say the Kalashnikov, whatever, rifles, ammunition, grenades, and anti-aircraft missiles, surveillance equipment, and combat equipment. In an additional operation, IDF soldiers eliminated dozens of terrorists. Following the completion of the searches, the soldiers dismantled 70 terror infrastructure sites in just 1 minute. Holy shit, man. See if we get any other updates here. U.S. service members continue to monitor and patrol regional waters in support of the U.S. blockade on ships entering or exiting Iranian ports. This is coming out from U.S. Central Command.
On ships entering or exiting Iranian ports. Seth, within that last answer, I do want to focus on something specifically.
Okay. There's no other post there. We're going to move on from it. All right, so real quick, we're going to turn our attention. I know we've been focusing on a lot on Iran, but we are going to focus real quick on Russia and Ukraine real quick. It says at least 16 were killed in Russian strikes against Ukraine. Let's go ahead and bring that up. These sad stories, man. All warfare, man. It's just terrible.
Taking a live look over in Kyiv, Ukraine. Now, the war between Russia and Ukraine does continue to intensify, and this is a live image that we have the aftermath of a Russian drone strike that happened overnight. And we also have a social media post courtesy of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Before I head to that, just want to read a little bit more background information. This is in Kyiv, Ukraine. Now, the Associated Press says that Russia hammered civilian areas of Ukraine with hundreds of drones and dozens of missiles in an attack that stretched for hours.
So they were not only launching drones, but as well as dozens of missiles.
From daytime into the night, killing at least 16 people and injuring more than 80 others, as terrified residents covered in their homes. That's according to officials. Russia launched nearly 700 drones and dozens of ballistic and cruise missiles, primarily targeting civilians in its biggest aerial barrage in almost 2 weeks, according to authorities. Moscow's forces have hit civilian areas almost daily since an all-out invasion of its neighbor more than 4 years ago, with the regular assaults occasionally punctuated by massive attacks. More than 15,000 Ukrainian civilians have died in the strikes, according to the United Nations. Taking a look...
Hold on. I want to hear that number again.
Ukrainian civilians have died in the...
Hold on. Didn't go back far enough.
Punctuated by massive attacks. More than 15,000 Ukrainian civilians have died in the strike.
15,000 Ukrainian civilians have died. Damn, bro. And since the war started, that was like 4 years ago.
Into the United Nations. Taking a look also at a social media post from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
Oh,
he says this.
Here's a post from Zelensky right here.
Another night has proven that Russia does not deserve any easing of global policy or lifting of sanctions. Russia is betting on war, and the response must be exactly that.
We all appreciate you, Naomi. Always appreciate it.
Must defend lives with all available means, and we must also apply pressure for the sake of peace with the same full force. I am grateful to those in the world who work with us in this way and who help Ukraine in a timely and comprehensive manner, fully aware that every act of support truly matters for saving lives. I thank Germany, Norway, and Italy, with whom we have already reached new agreements on supporting our air defense. We are working with the Netherlands on additional supplies.
All right. Wow. All right. So now here's going to be the long part, everybody. We have the update, basically a press conference from Secretary Hegseth as well as General Kane. So over there from the Pentagon. So let's go and bring that up, and we're going to get into this. We're going to have a little overtime today, as well as we do have to get into right after this as well. There's a short update on something that just happened this morning. It says Justin Fairfax kills himself as well as wife in Virginia. It says police say former Virginia Lieutenant Governor shot and killed his wife inside their home. Police Chief Kevin Davis provided an update on the latest. Authorities say former Virginia Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax shot and killed his wife. It says the couple's children called 911 after gunfire erupted, and both the parents were dead at that time. Just incredible. All right, here we go.
We do see Secretary Hegseth. Let's listen in.
And we're going to also speed them up on 1.25. We have to.
Good morning. And as you may have noticed, the chairman and I are joined today by the CENTCOM commander, Admiral Bradley Cooper.
Fix the audio.
He just returned from the front lines to see the troops and meet with allies, and this morning briefed us, just before this briefing, on the latest on all aspects of Operation Epic Fury. So after the chairman concludes, we'll ask Admiral Cooper to share a quick update on the ground truth.
Where's the audio engineer to fix and hone in on that microphone? I mean, they've got people hired specifically to do that. Why aren't they doing the job?
From his trip to the region, as he continues to implement an ironclad blockade and ensures that our forces are maximally postured to restart combat operations should this new Iranian regime choose poorly and not agree to a deal. And that is what we urge this morning, that this new Iranian regime choose wisely. Which is where we'll start with a message to Iran's military leadership. To the KH leadership and IRGC leadership, we're watching you. Our capabilities are not the same, our military and yours. Remember, this is not a fair fight. And we know what military assets you are moving and where you are moving them to. While you are digging out, which is exactly what you're doing, digging out of bombed out and devastated facilities, we are only getting stronger. You are digging out your remaining launchers and missiles with no ability to replace them. You have no defense industry, no ability to replenish your offensive or defensive capabilities. You only have what you have. You know that, and we know that. You can move things around, but you can't actually rebuild. You can dig out for now, but you can't reconstitute. But we can. We are reloading with more power than ever before, and better intelligence, even more importantly, better intelligence than ever before, as you expose yourself with your movement to our watchful eye.
Wow, we got Mr. Al Patterson coming in hot with the 5 gifted memberships. Let's go, man. Thank you very much for that. Not only helping me, but helping 5 others in the IWF, man. I really appreciate that. It goes a long way.
We are locked and loaded on your critical dual-use infrastructure, on your remaining power generation, and on your energy industry. We'd rather not have to do it, but we're ready to go at the command of our president and at the push of a button. This blockade, which the chairman will detail this morning, is the polite way that this can go. Your energy is not moving and will not move, and we can do this all day. But it's not destroyed yet. Your energy industry is not destroyed yet. You'd like to say publicly, Iran, that you control the Strait of Hormuz, but you don't have a navy or real domain awareness. You can't control anything. To be clear, threatening to shoot missiles and drones at ships, commercial ships that are lawfully transiting international waters, that is not control. That's piracy. That's terrorism. The United States Navy controls the traffic going in and out of the strait because we have real assets and real capabilities. And we're doing this blockade, performing it with less than 10%.
Yeah, but I thought you're only doing that to the ports, not the actual strait itself. But he just said that he's doing it on the strait as well.
Of America's naval power. The math is clear. We're using 10% of the world's most powerful navy, and you have 0% of your navy. That's real control, and we have a long...
What's up, Suzette? Hopefully you're enjoying your thirsty Thursday morning so far. Great to see you in the chat.
...track record of dealing with pirates and terrorists. But there is an alternative. As our negotiators have said, you, Iran, can choose a prosperous future, a golden bridge, and we hope that you do for the people of Iran. In the meantime, and for as long as it takes, we will maintain this blockade, successful blockade. But if Iran chooses poorly, then they will have a blockade and bombs dropping on infrastructure, power, and energy. And at the same time, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and our friends over at Treasury are launching Operation Economic Fury as well, maximizing economic pressure across the entirety of the government. To Iran, choose wisely. The world watched, and so did you, as the U.S. military moved seamlessly from major combat operations to a world-class blockade. We can make that transition again, very quickly, and even more powerfully than ever. At the direction of President Trump, the War Department will ensure that Iran never has a nuclear weapon, never. We'd prefer to do it the nice way, through a deal led by our great vice president and negotiating team, or we can do it the hard way. We urge this new regime to choose wisely. Speaking of choosing wisely, a note to the press corps, to the American media. As I just can't help But notice the endless stream of garbage, the relentlessly negative coverage. You cannot resist peddling, despite the historic and important success of this effort and the success of our troops. Sometimes it's hard to figure out what side some of you are actually on. It's incredibly.
Damn. Calling some motherfuckers out. Listen, you know, when it comes to like coverage and stuff like that, just because I don't agree necessarily with this war effort doesn't mean I don't want us to win. And of course I want our troops to be safe and wish them well and for the best. I mean, of course, right?
Unpatriotic.
I mean, I'm America only ideology, America first, you know? So absolutely, I want us to become victorious on whether I agree with this war effort or not. Of course, I would want us to win.
This same press corps, not this exact same press corps, but at least an older press corps, bent over backwards during the Biden administration to explain away, the disastrous and disgraceful Afghanistan withdrawal. You called it the greatest airlift in American history. It's almost like you're cheering only for one side. This past Sunday, I was sitting in church with my family, and our minister preached from the book of Mark, the 3rd chapter. And in the passage, Jesus entered a synagogue and healed a man with a withered hand. The Pharisees came to watch. And as the scripture reads, they came to see whether Jesus, would heal him, or he would heal him on the Sabbath, so that they might accuse him. You see, the Pharisees, the so-called and self-appointed elites of their time, they were there to witness, to write everything down, to report. But their hearts were hardened. Even though they witnessed a literal miracle, it didn't matter. They were only there to explain away the goodness in pursuit of their agenda. As the passage ends, the Pharisees went out and immediately held counsel against him, how to destroy him. I sat there in church and I thought, our press are just like these Pharisees. Not all of you.
Real quick, we got on the vertical side, we got Suzette coming in and dropping 200 joules. Man, that's major, by the way. Appreciate that. And Fidel also sending over a chili for 6 joules. I very much appreciate that, by the way. Thank you guys for making it rain over there, by the way.
But the legacy Trump-hating
press. You guys are awesome.
Your politically motivated animus for President Trump nearly completely blinds you from the brilliance of our American warriors. The Pharisees scrutinized every good act in order to find a violation, only looking for the negative. The hardened hearts of our press are calibrated only to impugn. I would ask you to open your eyes to the goodness, the historic success of our troops, the courage of this president, and this historic moment for a deal that could end the Iranian nuclear threat, the incredible battlefield victory laid before your eyes, the not one, but 2 incredible rescue missions, miracles, you might say, or a locked-in blockade. Or how about historic recruiting numbers? Yesterday, we announced that
That is major fact, Steve Easy. It's okay to support our troops and hate our government. Absolutely. Both can be true at the same time.
The Air Force and the Space Force met new higher goals in FY26, 5 months in advance of the end of the fiscal year. Five months ahead of time. The Marine Corps and the Army will soon do the same. 2-3 years ago, we couldn't meet lower recruiting numbers, not even close. Where are the reports on that? Where's the coverage of the new spirit in the country, the new spirit in the ranks, the surge of Americans wanting to join the greatest military in the world? Nothing from the fake news. We sense a pattern. You see, on the battlefield, these are demonstrations of uniquely American capabilities, strength and resolve. It's all around you each and every day. But in the press, you only seek the negative, earning each and every day the fake news label. But the American people, with goodness in their hearts, see past the Pharisees in our press. They see the goodness. You watching, you see the goodness. They see the success. They see the reality. And they don't demand perfection, and perfection is not possible on any battlefield. But they see the incredible feats that our troops accomplish every single day. So to those troops, stay focused, block out the noise, stay aggressive. You are showing the world what it means to be an American warrior. You are making this building and the American people proud. We pray for you every day, and we have your back in every way. And to Iran, choose wisely. I pray you choose a deal which is within your grasp for the betterment of your people and for the betterment of the world. In the meantime, the War Department is locked and loaded. Mr. Chairman, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here today. Last week.
So it sounds like the entire time they had General Kane's mic hot and Hegseth's fucking completely off, I guess.
The President of the United States directed a ceasefire.
Yeah, that's, I mean, totally.
That temporarily paused major combat operations in Iran.
Now we've actually got decent audio.
The unprecedented effort by America's joint force during Operation Epic Fury set the conditions for this ceasefire. And as the Secretary said, I'd like to emphasize during this pause that the United States joint force remains postured and ready to resume major combat operations at literally a moment's notice. This morning, I'd like to give you an update on the ongoing blockade in the CENTCOM AOR area of responsibility. On Monday, 13 April at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, at the direction of the President, America's joint force began implementing a blockade against Iran under the leadership of Admiral Cooper and the team at CENTCOM. Let me be clear, this blockade applies to all ships, regardless of nationality, heading into or from Iranian ports. The U.S. action is a blockade of Iran's ports and coastline, not a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz.
Okay, well, thank you for the clarification there, General Kane, because the way that Hegseth just said it about, I don't know, 10 minutes ago, the way that he said it sounded like that yes, we're doing the Iranian ports, but also the Strait. So I think he was just referring to that we do have the power there. But the way he said it made it sound like he's doing the Strait like that. So no, General Kane just gave us a fact check on that.
This blockade applies to all ships, regardless of nationality, heading into or from Iranian ports. The U.S. action is a blockade of Iran's ports and coastline, not a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz.
There it is.
Enforcement will occur inside Iran's territorial seas and in international waters. In addition to this blockade, the joint force, through operations and activities in other areas of responsibility, like the Pacific area of responsibility under the command of Admiral Paparo, will actively pursue any Iranian-flagged vessel or any...
Hey, we got Cameron. Always appreciate you. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day. We always appreciate it.
...vessel attempting to provide material support to Iran. This includes dark fleet vessels carrying Iranian oil. As most of you know, dark fleet vessels are those illicit or illegal ships evading international regulations, sanctions, or insurance requirements. More than 10,000 sailors, Marines, and airmen, over a dozen ships and dozens of aircraft are executing this mission. And let me walk you through this operation.
What's up, Chatting with Stacks? Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat as well.
Please go to the first slide. First to the graphic. This is taken before the blockade began. North is up. You can see the blockade line here in the center of the graphic, denoted by the red dashed line. This map is a pull from our common operating picture that we use to allow commanders and key leaders to see what is happening in near real time. We just grabbed screen grabs to highlight the actions and activities. What is not shown is how incredibly congested this area is and the incredible work that our...
Oh, yeah. You want to talk about how congested it is? Let me show you guys the live map right now. A lot of you guys that already follow this show, you guys already know. But this is the live map right now of the ships. So that's just total chaos. It's totally packed. It's just unreal over there right now. So that's what it looks like. And there's, I mean, as much as there is there, it's all sitting. It's not moving. So anyways, let's go ahead and bring back the press conference here. Give me a sec. Here we go.
Sailors are doing to ensure that they can work in and around an incredibly busy water space. What is also not depicted here is the massive force of fighters, intelligence aircraft, helicopters, and other embarked forces, to include aerial refueling tankers, that are up overhead this blockade area. You'll note that the U.S. forces are in blue, Iranian ships are in red, and as we started this blockade, there were 7 ships of interest that were of concern for U.S. Central Command. Through a variety of intelligence tools and with the assistance of the Office of Naval Intelligence and other intelligence agencies, the force began to hunt for potential interdictors at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next slide, please. It's now 12:40 Eastern Daylight Time, 2 hours and 40 minutes into the blockade, as attempted blockade runners attempt to hop the line. U.S. forces.
Wow. So there was actual movement where they were trying to jump the line. Now they're actually showing their real-time positions at this exact moment.
Began to commit. Out in front of them was a range of intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, and tactical assets. And immediately these runners began to see, sense, and feel America's combat power compressing upon them.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Fidel, always sending those hundreds. I always very much appreciate it, making it rain over there on the vertical side. And make sure you guys are hitting the like button and double tapping that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. You guys don't have to agree with anything that's happening here, or you can. What doesn't matter. You guys can like it for me and what we're doing here. So thank you for that.
The lead ship, normally a destroyer, as depicted here, along with air power off of the USS Abraham Lincoln Strike Group, began to move towards those ships. At each point, the United States Navy will transmit a warning. A young sailor, normally on the bridge of one of those destroyers, a junior officer, picks up that mic and transmits, and I quote, "Do not attempt to breach the blockade. Vessels will be boarded for interdiction and seizure transiting to or from Iranian ports."
Damn.
Turn around or prepare to be boarded. If you do not comply with this blockade, we will use force. And as this message is being transmitted, as I mentioned earlier, those shipmasters can literally see, sense, and feel the pressure around them. It's a finely tuned machine, rehearsed multiple times, and executed now 13 times since the blockade has.
So there's been 13 contacts to different ships, essentially, where they're trying to breach the line, and then they call them over the radio and tell them exactly what the hell is going to go down if you attempt to continue. Make sure you flip around, flip a bitch, go right back to that fucking port.
Be gone. Next slide, please. We're now 24 hours plus into the blockade. You can see the turning around of multiple ships, 12 of which stayed.
They're all headed back. You can see their bow actually headed back to Iran.
Inside the blockade line, one of which not depicted, off to the eastern side, turned around before even attempting it. Any ship that would cross the blockade.
Hey, Steve Easy, appreciate the GG, cuh.
Would result in our sailors executing pre-planned tactics designed to bring the force to that ship, if need be, board the ship and take her over. And that includes a series of escalated force options, which could include warning shots and others. Next slide. The final graphic shows taken at 11:20 p.m. the night of 14 April. You can see that the captains of all these ships have made the wise decision not to move, transit, or run this blockade. As I mentioned, so far 13 ships have made the wise choice of turning around. And as we continue to hold this blockade at the order of the Secretary and the President, any vessel that compares to comply with our instructions will be dealt with accordingly. As of this morning, U.S. Central Command has not been required to board any particular ships. And I'll remind you that we are also conducting similar maritime interdiction actions and activities.
Hell yeah. I appreciate that, Steve Easy, saying dollar dues for the homie from the set. Absolutely. And appreciate the $2, my man. The dues are paid. Absolutely. Appreciate it.
In the Pacific AOR against those ships that left that area before we began the blockade. Before I turn it over to Admiral Cooper, I want to talk briefly today about the men and women enforcing the blockade, America's sailors and Marines, and today particularly our destroyer and surface forces. When we talk about an American destroyer, it's important that you and the American people understand their capabilities. An Arleigh Burke-class destroyer are the backbone of the United States Navy surface fleet. Over 500 feet long, they displace 9,000 tons, and it is the sports car of the United States Navy.
What's up, Extra Surprise? Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat, bro.
From the keel to the mast, they stand nearly 10 stories tall, and their 4 gas turbine engines can drive the ship at 30-plus knots. These ships are armed to the teeth with surface-to-air missiles, land attack cruise missiles, anti-ship missiles, anti-submarine rockets, torpedoes, 5-inch naval guns, multiple electronic warfare systems, embarked helicopters, extending the reach and capability of each and every one of these destroyers. But far and away, the most important weapon on board these ships is the American sailor. Over 300 warfighters.
W. That was a dub. That was absolutely a W. What he just said right there.
Are the heart and soul of these warships. At sea, sometimes for months, and these ships out in the CENTCOM AOR have been out there for months. They operate around the clock in a constant state of readiness, always delivering for our joint force. It's hot in the engine room. The engineering team keeps the lights on and the ship powered and able to respond to the orders from the bridge. On that bridge, our sailors maintain a constant watch, maneuvering the ship tactically and safely through always congested water space. And there is a lot out there. It is like driving a sports car through a supermarket parking lot on a payday weekend with thousands of kids in that parking lot as you attempt to maneuver through there to get to that ship that would attempt to run that blockade.
Yeah, he's not joking. I showed you guys the amount of traffic that is over there currently right this second. I'll bring it back up just for anybody that's popping in real quick. But look at this. This is where they're talking about. The amount of people, this is the mouth that they're specifically talking about. But all these ships, I mean, it's just staggering. And they're all anchored. They're not moving. So yes, what he was talking about, how many people, well, basically ships. And yeah, it's very complex over there right now. So let's go back to this. My apologies. Give me a sec. Here it is.
Down in the Combat Information Center, the CIC, the Tactical Warfare Center of the ship, that is where the decisions are made. As threats appear, these young sailors are making real-time decisions on how to identify these threats and handle them, and they always deliver.
Let's get the likes up, everybody. Appreciate it. Make sure you guys double tap the screen if you're on the vertical side.
Ships are run by the youngest sailors in our surface warfare Navy. The helmsman, the sailor on the watch at the bridge, is normally just between 18 to 19 years old, and they are trusted to drive this warship through that supermarket parking lot without hitting anything. The conning officer, an equally young commissioned officer who's normally just a few years out of college, is the ones that are giving.
What's up, Jack, by the way? Hopefully you're enjoying your morning, as well as Wicked Wally in the building. Shout out to you, by the way. Hopefully you're enjoying your wonderful morning so far. So he says, Trump saying Israel and Lebanon just agreed to a 10-day ceasefire. Very much appreciate that right there, Wally. We got a little bit of a heads up from Dean Savage. He actually lives in Israel, and told us that it looks like they're going to get to like where that happens today. And that's exactly what you're just calling out right now. So appreciate the info on that. Thank you very much. Hopefully you're enjoying your Thirsty Thursday as well.
That Young's helmsman, the orders on where to take that American warship to execute the mission that the Secretary and the President has given us.
Yo, Suzette, appreciate the sunshine for that 200 joules right there, making it rain. Thank you very much for that.
These are incredibly well-trained sailors. They are led by incredible leaders, salty, experienced leaders, and trusted with deep responsibility. And I'm so humbled and proud of America's Navy. These sailors choose to take the road less traveled to go into the historic surface Navy, and they deliver every single day. Finally, as I often do, I want to highlight one of those surface sailors today and remember our father.
Mr. Sterling Wheel. Shout out to my man, by the way. Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat. Hopefully you're out there safe.
Today we remember.
Man runs around this entire country in a truck. So, I mean, it's kind of, anybody that's a trucker knows the deal.
Ensign Robert Thompson of the U.S. Laffey, who died on this day in 1945 in the Battle of Okinawa. He was killed while fighting a fire along with 31 others as 2 Japanese kamikaze aircraft hit their ship. He passed away 1 week after his 22nd birthday and was posthumously awarded the Navy Cross. We remember Ensign Thompson today and all of our World War II vets who continue to give us the gift of a great example. And those surface warfare sailors who are out there doing the job right now take the courage, grit, and determination that those World War II vets gave us into these actions and activities that they're tasked to do every single day. So now I'd like to turn it over to Admiral Cooper to give us a readout of his recent trip to the region.
Well, good morning, and Mr. Secretary.
I didn't know we were going to hear from Admiral Cooper right here, right now.
Thank you for the kind invitation, and Chairman, great to join you. It's a real honor to be here representing the more than 50,000 American service members deployed throughout the Middle East today, supporting operations. And it's great to have the opportunity to highlight the tremendous efforts our warfighters operating forward and the important partnerships with regional allies that continue.
You guys will recognize him because he's the guy that comes out with the big CENTCOM videos to give you guys updates. So he's the CENTCOM commander.
Continue to thrive. In fact, yesterday I returned from my second trip to the Middle East in the past 15 days. 2 very different visits. One during our offensive operations against Iran, and the second in this most recent trip during the ongoing ceasefire. Very different. During both of my recent trips, I visited with our troops who were deployed across the region in more than 70 different locations, in a distance that largely spans between Florida and Arizona. I've long believed that every success that we have starts and ends with our people, and boy, does this shine through brightly. During these visits, I had the privilege of personally recognizing more than 100 servicemen and women for their extraordinary valor, their courage, and their initiative under fire and delivering fire. And every time I interact with these young men and women downrange, I am deeply inspired by their courage, their resilience, and their unwavering commitment. The stories are remarkable. In many cases, you've seen this play out over TV. Fighter pilots who took out Iranian missile launchers in the moments prior to their launch against Americans and our partners, and who hit key military targets in and around Tehran on the attack more than 13,000 times. I met with some of the teams that helped to bring our F-15 airmen home safely from Iran and heard first-person accounts of the stories. Absolute heroes. I spent time with our troops who are employing cutting-edge tactics and technology for the first time in warfare. I won't be able to talk about what those are, but these young men and women are breaking new ground. It's incredibly inspiring. I met with teams who launched our own one-way attack drones into Iran. These were originally Iranian-designed drones. We brought them back to America, took the guts out, put a made American stamp on them, and fired them right back to Iran. Very effective. I met with teams who are employing AI every single day to help us sift through vast amounts of information to help us make decisions faster. And importantly, humans are always in the loop in this process. I met with our Space Force teams and our cyber specialists, whose work cannot be discussed, but who serve with indispensable impact. I met with our logisticians and sustainers all over the region. There is just no military that executes logistics like the U.S. military. This group is doing exceptional work, moving thousands of tons every single day. I met with our air defenders who shot down Iranian ballistic missiles. My message for this group in particular is that their actions most certainly saved thousands of lives across the Middle East during Epic Fury. And all told, my personal assessment is, after these couple of trips, is our troops are highly motivated, they're focused, they're vigilant, and they're ready. And they're using this time to do a couple of things. We're rearming. We're retooling and we're adjusting our tactics, techniques, and procedures. There's no military in the world that adjusts like we do, and that's exactly what we're doing right now during the ceasefire. A little note about partners. My discussion with regional allies and partners, both at the senior civilian level and the senior military level, reinforced our shared commitment to regional security. But beyond that, having now fought together, side by side, I assess that our military partnerships are stronger than ever as we continue to maintain a very active defense posture across the region during this ceasefire. And that posture stretches across the entire Arabian Peninsula, and it runs from northern Iraq all the way down into the northern Arabian Gulf. In creating the largest air defense umbrella in the world across the Middle East, we embedded specially trained U.S. military air defenders alongside our partner nation soldiers, side by side.
I appreciate that, Fidel, by the way. I hope that you guys enjoy what we do here, as well as Sterling Will coming in and gifting out 5 gifted memberships. Let's go, man. That's a big deal, man. Not only is it helping me, but it's helping 5 others in the community, man. So I very much appreciate that, Sterling. Definitely goes a long way. Sending it out this morning. Yes, sir. Appreciate that.
Literally, side by side. And to give you a sense of their contribution and impact, the King and Crown Prince of Bahrain both personally knew our soldiers by name. These leaders expressed appreciation for our service member who continue to stand shoulder to shoulder with our partners in support of regional defense. And this is a sentiment that is widely shared across every Gulf ally. I heard this message over and over again, which is, we stand with you. As the Secretary and the Chairman have said, Bahrain, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, and Jordan have been exceptional teammates. I had a chance to meet with both their senior leadership as well as their troops. Boy, equally inspiring and equally committed to mutual defense. They defended Americans and they defended their own country. It was inspiring. And there's been no better teammate than Israel. Together, the 4 best air forces in the world, the Israeli Air Force, the U.S. Air Force, and the air forces of the U.S. Navy and U.S. Marine Corps, together met and exceeded our own military objectives over and over again. Twice in the past 2 weeks, I've met with the Israeli Chief of Defense to ensure that we remain closely aligned, and we do. And then finally, let me just close by saluting the brave men and women who are in uniform and who continue to answer the call with unrivaled lethality, great teamwork, and resolve. We've asked them to stay ready during this period, and that's exactly what they're doing. I couldn't be prouder, and I know that you and the American people share that same pride. Thank you so much.
Wow. All right. I think that's going to end up closing. They're probably going to say, hey, we'll take some questions. We're not going to take any questions. We have to go into our last story after this. Let's double check.
Go ahead.
Yeah, they're going straight into questions. All right, let's go ahead and get into the very last story here. Justin Fairfax kills self as well as wife in Virginia. This is the former Virginia lieutenant governor shot and killed not only his wife, but he killed himself as well. And then I guess the kids ended up calling 911. That's just, I mean, just terrible. I can't imagine, you know, I just feel for the kids, man. It's just absolutely terrible.
Right, we are following some breaking news out of Fairfax County, Virginia. Here's a post here from our Fox 5 DC team as we're learning that authorities are saying former Virginia Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax shot and killed his wife as well as himself inside their home in Annandale. We did just get a press conference from Fairfax County Police Chief Kevin Davis, who said officers were called shortly after midnight to the home where they found both adults deceased inside the residence.
What's up, Joseph, my man up there in Canada on the Facebook side of things. Great to see you in the chat, bro.
Some video here of outside the scene, courtesy of our Fox 5 DC team here. They are doing continuous coverage on this right now. We want to head over and listen in live.
To statewide office in the Commonwealth of Virginia. That was a big feat. Before him, it was Doug Wilder, and after him, it was Winsome Earl Sears. But certainly that was big news, and big news that as a lieutenant governor, he was next in line to possibly become governor if indeed Governor Northam had chosen to resign after that blackface photo controversy. Ultimately, Governor Northam decided not to resign, and he was able to weather that storm. But during all of that was when the news came out of two different women who had accused Justin Fairfax of sexual assault, one while he was at Duke University and the other while he was at a Democratic National Convention conference. Fairfax had said that those sexual encounters were consensual, and he called all of this a smear. He volunteered to take a polygraph test, and his wife stood by him publicly during all of this. So again, publicly a very strong, solid front. Justin Fairfax also made a brief run for governor in 2021, but he did not secure the nomination against Terry McAuliffe, also a well-known politician in Virginia. And then he went into private practice. He's maintained his home here in Fairfax, and you know, he went to DeMatha High School, local guy, and has a number of family in the area as well. So this is certainly something that's reverberating in the community, not just here in.
He's got a really good heart there, you know, Steve Easy.
Annandale,
sure.
but in all of the communities where his families and loved ones live. Now, I'm also hearing from people in the state legislature, members of the legislature, who are just shocked and saddened by all of this, just not really having any inkling that Justin Fairfax would have been capable of something like this.
Massive, massive story on so many levels. The former lieutenant governor of Virginia and his wife both dead in an apparent murder-suicide at their Annandale, Virginia home overnight. We invite you to tune into our digital channels throughout the day today. Of course, if there's new developments before we are off the air this morning, we will bring them to you. In the meantime, we'll push all our updates to our digital channels, to Fox Local, and our social media in the meantime. Mel, thanks very much for bringing us up to speed on everything that was happening there.
Thank you to our Fox 5 DC team. Now, we did just hear from the police chief there, Kevin Davis, a full press conference. I wanted to play those comments out for you now here on Live Now from Fox.
Hey guys, yeah, Chief Kevin Davis has just walked up to the microphone. He's ready to give us an update. So let's go.
Recording this off of an iPhone.
All right, folks, good morning.
I mean, I guess it works.
I'm here to confirm the identity of our shooter in this murder-suicide that happened several hours ago as former Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax. Former Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax shot and killed his wife inside of their home and then shot and killed himself. I think you have the rest of the details that Captain Cosgriff gave earlier this morning, so I'm just going to pause right here and answer any of your questions to the best of my ability right now. I can just tell you, then I'll go to Drew first, that this has been an ongoing domestic dispute surrounding...
Oh, it's been an ongoing domestic dispute. Oh, sounds like that cops have been involved more than once already. By the way, Naomi coming in with the $2 saying W to Mike Overtime. Very much appreciate the $2 there, Naomi. Definitely goes a long way. It adds up quickly.
What seems to be a complicated or messy divorce. So, Drew.
And Chief, that was going to be my question. Can you elaborate on what the investigation has revealed about the status of their marriage? Of course, the kids are what everybody's thinking about, I think, too, in this as well.
So far, what we know is probably what you all know, and I don't think it's a secret that there's been divorce proceedings that have been ongoing. From what I understand in this early stage, former Lieutenant Governor Fairfax was recently served some paperwork associated with an upcoming court proceeding that apparently led to...
Oh, damn. He's like in court proceedings and shit for what? Like domestic disputes or what?
To this incident last night. Both of their children, teenagers, the boys older than the girl, were in the house when it happened. So that's horrible news for the family. Certainly a traumatic event for those children to live through. But we know that it all...
How fucking miserable and selfish Oh, it's just terrible.
Kind of culminated last night when Justin Fairfax shot several times and killed his wife, ran to a different part of the home, and then killed himself with the same firearm.
I know you just got the scene, but from your briefing, what do you know about the scene inside? What is?
So it seems like, and I know I'm competing with some school buses here. It seems like the murder took place in the basement. It's described to me as a unfinished basement in the home. At some point after Justin shot and killed his wife, he runs upstairs in the home and into the primary bedroom, apparently, and shoots and kills himself.
Just miserable. I'm sorry that I have to leave you guys off from there. That's just a terrible thing to have to, of course, leave off on, man. Just all of the news, just terrible. All right, listen, I can't thank each and every single one of you guys enough. We're not going to be rating anybody today, so you guys are going to have to find your own place to go after the show ends here. I can't thank you guys enough. Obviously, I can't do this without you guys. Monday through Friday, of course, reporting world news, geopolitics, American news, American politics, all of it. Listen, man, I'm just honored that I'm able to do this with you guys. And thank you guys for supporting me and the efforts. Also hitting that like button on the way out, double tapping that screen, and hitting that subscribe button if you guys are new here. So anyways, we'll be back tomorrow morning for more of the world's madness. Until then, everybody, God bless. We'll see you guys very soon. Much love.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul, with a heart steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with, fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit.